Hello and welcome. Today, we're going to dive deep into Psalm 129. It's a really powerful song that talks about walking through incredible hardship, but it's also a song that celebrates God's ultimate righteous salvation. And this devotional is brought to you by our friends at the You Need Faith in Jesus team. Let me just start with a question, because I think we've all been there. Have you ever felt like your struggles were just relentless? Like you were fighting a battle that was never, ever going to end? Well, Psalm 129 speaks right into that feeling, but it does it with a perspective that was literally forged in the fire of centuries of hardship. So the psalm kicks off on this incredibly strong foundation, Israel's own story, their own testimony. It's a song about enduring affliction. Okay, first, a little bit of context. This psalm is called a song of degrees. Now, what does that mean? Well, these were literally songs that pilgrims sang as they were walking uphill, ascending, on their way to Jerusalem for the big religious festivals. So just picture that, a whole group of people on a journey, singing this song together and thinking about their nation's long, hard journey. And here is what they sang. Many a time have they afflicted me from my youth, may Israel now say. Many a time have they afflicted me from my youth, yet they have not prevailed against me. Wow, there is so much packed into just those first two lines. When they say from my youth, they're looking all the way back to the very beginning, to their slavery in Egypt. See, for them, hardship wasn't some shocking new thing. It was a constant pattern. And that repetition, saying the same line twice, isn't just for effect. It's to hammer home just how relentless the opposition was. But then comes the most important part. Yet they have not prevailed against me. That is a statement of endurance, not defeat. And this points to a promise that rings all the way through into the New Testament. Just like Israel's enemies couldn't land that final knockout blow, Jesus himself promised in Matthew 16:18 that the gates of hell shall not prevail against his church. The message is crystal clear. God always preserves his people. So after setting that stage of endurance, the psalmist uses this shockingly graphic image to describe what that suffering actually felt like. Just listen to how raw and even brutal this imagery is in verse 3. The plowers plowed upon my back. They made long their furrows. I mean, what a metaphor. It's this image of cruel, humiliating oppression. You're supposed to picture an ox plowing a field, right? But the field is a person's back. It's talking about a kind of pain that is so deep, so violating, that it leaves permanent scars, just like furrows cut into the earth. The enemy wasn't just bothering them, they were trying to tear them apart. And of course, this image of a plowed back, it finds its ultimate, literal fulfillment in Jesus Christ. The prophet Isaiah wrote about the coming Messiah saying, "With his stripes we are healed." Jesus endured the Roman whip, his back literally torn open, to pay the price for our sin and to buy our healing. But right from that absolute depth of suffering, the psalm just pivots. It turns on a dime to the righteous, powerful action of God. So after the darkness of verse 3, we get this brilliant burst of light, this declaration of hope. The Lord is righteous. He hath cut asunder the cords of the wicked. So look at this incredible contrast. On one side, you have the wicked. What do? They plow the back, they make long furrows. Their goal is total enslavement. But then, on the other side, you have the Lord. He is righteous, and with one swift, decisive move, he cuts their cords. Now, those cords could be the ropes of the plow or the ropes binding the prisoner. It doesn't matter. Either way, God's action is total, sudden liberation. He doesn't just loosen the ropes, he snaps them in two. All right, so if God's people endure, and God is the great liberator, what happens to those who oppose them? Well, the psalm turns into a prayer for justice, and it uses another amazing agricultural metaphor. Now, to really get this next part, we need to understand what Zion means. It's not just a hill in Jerusalem. In the Bible, it comes to represent the people of God, the place where his presence is. So, to hate Zion is to hate God and his people. And with that in mind, listen to this prayer. Let them all be confounded and turned back that hate Zion. Let them be as the grass upon the housetops, which withereth afore it groweth up. I love this image. It's so brilliant. Back then, they had these flat clay roofs. After a little rain, some grass might sprout up real quick, And for a minute, it looks green, it looks alive, but it has no soil, no roots. So the first hot day, the sun just scorches it, and it withers into nothing before it can ever be harvested or used for anything. That, the psalmist says, is the fate of God's enemies. Their success might look flashy and quick, but it's temporary, it's shallow, and in the end, it produces absolutely nothing of value. Okay, so what does all of this mean for you and me today? This psalm isn't just ancient poetry. It gives us a really clear path for how to apply these truths and how to persevere in our own lives. The very last verse gives us this final picture of what that fruitless, barren life looks like. It says, "Neither do they which go by say, the blessing of the Lord be upon you. We bless you in the name of the Lord." So, back in ancient Israel, it was a custom for people walking by a field at harvest time to shout out a blessing to the workers. We even see it happen in the book of Ruth. It was a sign of a healthy, fruitful community. And what the psalmist is saying here is that the work of God's enemies is so barren, so totally worthless, that no one even bothers to offer that common courtesy. Their end is just unblessed, public emptiness. So here's how we can put this into practice. 4 simple steps. Number 1, remember God's past faithfulness. Just like Israel did, look back and see how he has brought you through trials before. Number 2, look to Christ's victory. He took the ultimate plowing for you, and he has the power to cut any cord that's holding you back. 3, trust in God's justice. Don't be afraid or intimidated by the temporary, flashy success of the wicked. Remember, they're just rooftop grass. And finally, number 4, cultivate a fruitful life. Live in a way that actually produces a harvest that God is pleased to bless. And that really brings us to the final question, the one I want to leave you with. It's a tough one, but it's the heart of it all. Is your life, right now, producing a harvest that invites the blessing of the Lord? Thank you so much for walking through this incredible psalm with us today. This devotional was from the You Need Faith in Jesus team.